Carol Burnett is known as one of the sweetest and most beloved figures in television history. She is America's comedy queen. She made millions of people laugh every week on The Carol Burnett Show. But what if I told you that behind the scenes there were serious tensions with some of her closest colleagues? Today I am revealing the truth about Carol Burnett and the people she truly hated. But I am warning you right now, number one is not what you think at all. This whole story has a twist that will shock you. Before we dive into video, please subscribe to our channel. Carol Burnett built her career on making people happy. For 11 years, from 1967 to 1978, The Carol Burnett Show was one of the most popular programs on television. Every week, millions of families gathered around their TV sets to watch Carol and her talented cast perform sketches and musical numbers. The show won 25 Emmy Awards. It made Carol Burnett a household name. It launched the careers of several other stars. It is still considered one of the greatest variety shows in television history. But behind all that laughter and all that success, there were conflicts and tensions that the audience never saw. Carol Burnett worked with the same group of people week after week for years. They spent more time with each other than they did with their own families. And when you work that closely with people for that long, problems are bound to happen. Egos clash, creative differences emerge, personal issues get in the way. Today I'm taking you behind the curtain of The Carol Burnett Show. I am revealing the 5 people who had serious conflicts with Carol Burnett. Some of these stories have been hidden for decades. Some of them will change the way you think about classic television. And the biggest revelation of all is that the word hate might not be the right word at all. But you will have to watch until the end to understand what I mean by that. Number 5 is Harvey Korman. Harvey Korman was one of the stars of The Carol Burnett Show. He was incredibly talented. He could do physical comedy. He could do dramatic roles. He was famous for breaking character and laughing during sketches, especially when Tim Conway was trying to make him crack up. The audience loved watching Harvey try not to laugh. It became one of the most beloved parts of the show. Harvey and Carol worked together beautifully on camera. Their chemistry was perfect. They could play any kind of scene together. But behind the scenes there was tension that grew worse over the years. The main problem was that Harvey Korman felt underappreciated. Yes, he was on a hit show. Yes, he was winning Emmy Awards. But it was The Carol Burnett Show. Her name was in the title. She was the star. She made the final decisions. She got most of the attention from the press and the public. Harvey wanted more recognition for his contributions. He felt that he was just as important to the show's success as Carol was. And he was not entirely wrong about that. The show would not have been the same without Harvey Korman. His talent was essential to what made the show special. But Carol was the boss. It was her show. She had fought hard to get a variety show on the air at a time when networks did not think a woman could carry that kind of program. She had earned the right to have her name on the show and to make the big decisions. Harvey started to resent this situation. He would make comments to other cast members about how Carol got all the credit. He would complain that his salary was not as high as it should be. He wanted his own show where he would be the star. Things came to a head in 1977 after 10 seasons. Harvey Korman decided to leave The Carol Burnett Show. He announced that he was going to star in his own variety show on ABC. This was a huge blow to Carol. She felt betrayed. They had built something special together, and now Harvey was walking away from it. Carol tried to convince Harvey to stay. She offered him more money. She promised him more creative input. But Harvey had made up his mind. He wanted to be the star of his own show. He wanted his name in the title. So Harvey left, and Carol was devastated. She felt like he had abandoned her and the rest of the cast. She felt like their friendship and their partnership had meant nothing to him. For a while, she was genuinely angry at Harvey Korman. But here is where the story gets interesting. Harvey Korman's new show was a disaster. It was canceled after only a few months. His attempt to be the star of his own variety show failed completely. Meanwhile, The Carol Burnett Show continued for one more season without him, and it was still successful. After his show failed, Harvey realized he had made a terrible mistake. He had given up something great because of his ego. He had hurt someone who cared about him. He felt terrible about what he had done. Eventually, Harvey and Carol reconciled. It took time, but they forgave each other. In later years, they spoke warmly about each other in interviews. Carol said that Harvey was one of the most talented people she ever worked with. Harvey said that leaving Carol's show was one of the biggest mistakes of his career. So did Carol hate Harvey Korman? For a little while, maybe, but the hate did not last. It turned back into love and respect. This is the first hint that the story I am telling you is not what it seems. Number 4 is Lyle Waggoner. Lyle Waggoner was the handsome announcer and supporting player on The Carol Burnett Show. He was there from the very beginning in 1967. He was tall and good-looking and charming. Women loved him. He played the straight man in many sketches. He was reliable and professional. But Lyle Waggoner also felt limited by his role on the show. He was basically the good-looking guy. He did not get to do the funny stuff. He did not get to show much range as a performer. Harvey Korman and Tim Conway got all the big comedy moments. Carol got to do everything. Vicki Lawrence got to play Mama. Lyle just stood there and looked handsome. This frustrated Lyle more and more as the years went by. He was ambitious. He wanted to do more. He wanted to be taken seriously as an actor, not just as a pretty face. Lyle started auditioning for other projects. While he was still on the Carol Burnett show, he went out for the role of Batman in the 1960s TV series. He almost got it, but Adam West was cast instead. He auditioned to play Superman in the 1970s, but did not get that role either. Then in 1974, Lyle was offered a role that he could not refuse. He was cast as Steve Trevor on the new Wonder Woman TV series starring Linda Carter. This was a lead role on a major network show. It was his chance to be more than just the announcer on someone else's variety show. Lyle went to Carol and told her he was leaving. He had been with the show for 7 years. He felt it was time to move on. He wanted to pursue this new opportunity. Carol was not happy about this at all. First of all, she was losing another member of her core cast. The show depended on consistency and familiarity. The audience loved seeing the same people week after week. Losing Lyle meant having to find a replacement and hoping the audience would accept the change. But Carol was also hurt on a personal level. She felt like Lyle was saying that being on her show was not good enough for him. She had given him steady work for 7 years. She had made him famous. And now he was leaving to play a supporting role on another show. There was tension between Carol and Lyle during his final weeks on the show. They were professional on camera, but backstage things were cold. Carol felt abandoned. Lyle felt like Carol did not understand his desire to grow as an actor. Lyle left the show and went on to do Wonder Woman. The role brought him more fame and more opportunities. After Wonder Woman ended, he started a successful business renting motorhomes to film productions. He became very wealthy. He did not need to act anymore. Looking back, Lyle has said that leaving the Carol Burnett show was the right decision for his career and his life. He does not regret it, but he also acknowledges that it hurt Carol and that he could have handled the situation better. Did Carol hate Lyle Waggoner? No, not really. She was hurt and disappointed, but she understood. Over time, the hurt faded. When Carol has talked about Lyle in interviews, she has always been complimentary. She recognized his contributions to the show. The wound healed. Are you starting to see the pattern here? Keep watching, because the next 3 entries make the pattern even clearer. Number 3 is Vicki Lawrence now. This one really surprises people because Vicki Lawrence and Carol Burnett have always seemed like they were incredibly close, and they were. But that does not mean there was never any tension between them. Vicki Lawrence was only 18 years old when she was cast on the Carol Burnett show. She had no professional experience. She was hired mainly because she looked like she could be Carol's younger sister. Carol basically discovered Vicki and gave her a career. At first, Vicki was just a supporting player. She did small roles in sketches. She was learning on the job. But then the writers created a character called Mama, who was a cranky old woman. They gave the role to Vicki even though she was still in her 20s. Vicki's performance as Mama became one of the most popular parts of the show. Suddenly, Vicki Lawrence was getting huge laughs and lots of attention. Mama became so popular that years later, Vicki would star in her own sitcom called Mama's Family based on the character. The character made Vicki a star in her own right. And this created a complicated dynamic between Vicki and Carol. Carol had discovered Vicki. Carol had given her the opportunity. Carol was the boss and the mentor. But now Vicki had created something that was hers. Mama belonged to Vicki, and Mama was sometimes more popular with audiences than Carol's characters. There were moments when Carol felt a little jealous of the attention Vicki was getting. Carol was generous and supportive, but she was also human. It had to sting a little bit when the character created by the writers on her show got bigger laughs than she did. Vicki, meanwhile, sometimes felt frustrated by being seen as Carol's protege. She was grateful for the opportunity Carol had given her, but she also wanted to be recognized for her own talent. She did not want to be seen as someone who only had a career, because Carol Burnett felt sorry for her. There were small tensions over the years, creative disagreements about sketches, moments when Carol asserted her authority, and Vicki felt put in her place, times when Vicki pushed back and Carol felt disrespected. But here is the important thing. Carol and Vicki worked through all of those tensions. They communicated. They respected each other. They never let small problems become big feuds. To this day, Carol Burnett and Vicki Lawrence are close friends. They appear together at events. They talk about each other with genuine warmth and affection. Vicki credits Carol with giving her everything. Carol is proud of what Vicki accomplished. Did Carol hate Vicki Lawrence? Absolutely not. There were complicated moments in their relationship, but hate was never part of it. This was a mentor and student relationship that evolved into a friendship between equals. Number 2 is Jim Nabors. Jim Nabors was famous for playing Gomer Pyle on The Andy Griffith Show and then on his own sitcom Gomer Pyle, USMC. He had an amazing singing voice that surprised people because his speaking voice was so different. He was a gentle, sweet man who everyone in Hollywood loved. Jim Nabors appeared on the Carol Burnett Show many times. He was Carol's good luck charm. He appeared on the first episode of the show. He came back for the first episode of every season for 11 years. It became a tradition that audiences looked forward to. Carol and Jim were very close friends in real life. They genuinely cared about each other. There was no professional rivalry between them because Jim was a guest, not a regular cast member. Their relationship seemed perfect. But there was one source of tension that most people do not know about. Jim Nabors was gay at a time when being openly gay could destroy your career. He kept his sexuality private for decades. He did not publicly come out until 2013 when he married his partner of many years. Back in the 1970s, there were rumors in Hollywood about Jim's sexuality. Some people in the industry knew or suspected the truth. Carol Burnett was one of those people. She knew, and she kept Jim's secret. But there were times when keeping that secret created awkward situations. The writers on Carol's show would sometimes write jokes or sketches that played on Jim's Gomer Pyle character being naive about women. Some of these sketches had undertones that could be seen as making fun of Jim's sexuality, even if that was not the intention. Carol would sometimes allow these sketches to air because she thought they were funny and she did not think they were mean-spirited. But Jim was hurt by some of them. He felt like his friend was allowing him to be mocked, even if it was subtle, and even if the audience did not understand what was really being mocked. Jim never confronted Carol directly about this. He was too polite and too private, but there were times when he felt betrayed by someone he considered a dear friend. He would go home after taping and feel upset about what had happened. Carol did not realize she was hurting Jim. She thought everything was fine. She thought they were just doing comedy. It was only years later, when attitudes about sexuality had changed, that Carol looked back and realized some of those sketches might have been hurtful. When Jim Nabors finally came out publicly in 2013, Carol was one of the first people to congratulate him. She supported him completely. She said she had always known and had always accepted him exactly as he was. Did Carol hate Jim Nabors? No, absolutely not. Did Jim hate Carol? No, never. But there were moments of unintentional hurt in their friendship. And those moments remind us that even the best friendships can have complicated parts. Number 1 is Alan Funt, and now we come to number 1. Alan Funt was the creator and host of Candid Camera, one of the first and most popular reality shows on television. The show pranked ordinary people and filmed their reactions. It was funny and innocent and hugely popular. Alan Funt appeared on the Carol Burnett Show as a guest. He did a segment where he used hidden cameras to prank the cast and crew. It seemed like a perfect combination. Carol's variety show meets Candid Camera. What could go wrong? Everything went wrong. The problem was that Alan Funt did not tell Carol exactly what he was planning to do. She knew there would be some kind of prank, but she did not know the details. Funt wanted genuine reactions, so he kept Carol in the dark. The prank that Funt pulled was elaborate, and it involved making Carol think that something had gone seriously wrong during the taping. He made her think that a technical problem had ruined an entire sketch that they had worked hard on. He made her think that they would have to do the whole thing over again, which would put them behind schedule and cost a lot of money. Carol was genuinely upset. She was stressed and frustrated. She snapped at some of the crew members. She was close to tears. And all of this was being filmed by hidden cameras for Alan Funt's segment. When Funt finally revealed that it was all a prank, Carol did not think it was funny at all. She felt humiliated. She felt like she had been made to look bad in front of her own crew. She had said things and acted in ways that she was not proud of, and it had all been a setup. Carol confronted Alan Funt right there on the set. She told him that what he had done was not okay. She told him that he had crossed a line. She demanded that the footage not be used on the show. Funt tried to laugh it off and say it was all in good fun, but Carol was furious. She made it clear that if he tried to use that footage, she would take legal action. She had enough power and enough lawyers to make his life very difficult. The footage was never aired. Alan Funt left the taping and never appeared on the Carol Burnett Show again. Carol made sure that everyone knew what had happened. She wanted other performers to be warned about working with Funt. For years afterward, Carol Burnett spoke negatively about Alan Funt in interviews. She said he was mean-spirited and that his pranks were not really funny. She said he enjoyed humiliating people and that was not real comedy. So did Carol Burnett truly hate Alan Funt? Yes, for a while she genuinely did hate him. This is the one person on this list that Carol had real lasting anger. But here's the twist I promised you at the beginning, the big reveal. After going through all 5 of these stories, I need to tell you something important. The title of this video is misleading on purpose. I said Carol Burnett truly hated these people. But the truth is that Carol Burnett is incapable of truly hating anyone. Yes, she had conflicts with Harvey Korman, but they reconciled and remained friends. Yes, she was hurt when Lyle Waggoner left, but she understood and forgave him. Yes, she had complicated moments with Vicki Lawrence, but their friendship was stronger than any tension. Yes, there were unintentional hurts with Jim Nabors, but their love for each other was real and deep. Even with Alan Funt, the person she came closest to actually hating Carol eventually let go of her anger. Years later, when asked about the incident, she said that Funt probably thought he was just doing his job. She said that holding on to anger only hurts yourself. She chose to forgive even if she never forgot. This is who Carol Burnett really is. She is a person who believes in kindness and forgiveness and moving forward. She had every right to hold grudges against people who hurt her or disappointed her or betrayed her, but she chose not to. She chose to let go of negative feelings and focus on the positive. In all of her years in show business, Carol Burnett has been known as one of the kindest and most professional people in the industry. She treated everyone with respect, from the biggest stars to the crew members. She remembered people's names. She asked about their families. She created a work environment where people felt valued and appreciated. The Carol Burnett Show was a happy place to work. Yes, there were tensions and conflicts like any workplace, but overall it was a show built on respect and collaboration and genuine affection. That is why it lasted 11 years. That is why it won so many awards. That is why people still love it decades later.